Town have won a game away from home yet again, up to 4th position. It is your match reaction show, and it's live right now. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your match reaction show. It's finished. Hull City 0, Ipswich Town 2. Town win their 3rd away game in a row, up to 4th position. And we want your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions. Get them on our show. You can come on the show by clicking the link in the live chat right now. Come on, you know you want to. Maybe you don't want to come on the show, and that's okay. That's fine. Maybe you just want to celebrate. Well, head to our voice messaging service, speakpipe.com/talkingtown, and give us your opinion on what you just saw. Question, praises. Maybe you got a rant about the first half. I don't know, because I thought I'd made an epic mistake this evening. I've made a mistake this afternoon. I started that the wrong side of the room. So all you can see is the reflection of me light. That needs to be that side. And I thought, oh no, Martin, you've done it again. Made another mistake by watching Ipswich Town this evening because it was not going well, Stephen. Parry, it was not going to plan, but they came through in the end. What is your instant reaction, thoughts?
A win's a win.
A win is a win, sir. Yeah. A win is a win.
We're 4th place, quite frankly. If we play 46 games and it goes off someone's backside in the 90th minute, it makes no difference. You get the same place as if plays smooth, silky football for 90 minutes. I'd like to see more, but at the end of the day, we weren't. I don't know. Things didn't seem to be clicking first half. There was a lot of passes that didn't seem to click, and it was worrying. I thought Clark was poor tonight. I really do. I thought Greaves played well.
He did. Higgy says 6 changes was ridiculous. Banger says subs made an impact. Lee Anderson is celebrating Norwich conceding late. Adrian says Taylor gave us more legs in midfield. Rob, Matchday was a good football player. That is all. And Mike D earlier in the chat says Matchday were absolutely superb. Mike, first half we were panned. Second half the subs made the difference. Will the Ipswich Town please stand up, take the win, move on, but still plenty to do and plenty to work upon. We are partnered with Matchday and Stowmarket Osteopaths. More on both of those shortly. But on Matchday, Steve, as he's getting a lot of love in our chat, rightfully so. How good was he tonight? Because I thought he was absolutely superb. I could have watched him all night. He was brilliant. Yeah.
But we've also got to remember he's a combative player, and he's a player we're going to miss sooner or later. I think he's one. I think, to be perfectly honest, is the kind of player we need to get a backup for in January, because none of the players we have, whether it's Cayuse, whether it's Taylor, whether it's Nunes, are backups, as Charlton showed. Our midfield had gone during Charlton. So we can't replace Matasiwa when he's not there. So that would be something I'd look at.
Yep.
I'm not one of those for saying let's go back for Morsey, because I think he'd expect to play and he's not going to. So I think there are other people out there who can play as a defensive midfielder, but I think we need one, whether it's on loan or whatever. I do think we need one.
Well, yes, because he's going to pick up. You would have thought some more yellow cards along the way, which would lead to another suspension. Obviously, you got one on Saturday at home to Wrexham.
I think it's 2 or 3 away. I think.
Yeah, but that's not many when you play the game the way.
He can quite easily get them 3 in the next 9-10 games. You know what I mean? And
very much so.
I think that's something that we've got to think about. Whether we get some sort of backup for him, because I don't really think we've got one right now. I think we have to play completely differently if we lose Matasiwa. But he played very well, and Long may. Let's hope he can like today. He didn't get a booking. Let's keep going on that. Have a few more games like that. I do think first half was tepid. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of people turn around and complain about the changes and this, that, and the other. But it seems like when we win, they don't say anything. When we don't win, then there's an issue. We made loads of changes against QPR and we won the game 4-1. We know what McKenna's going to do. I don't see the point in keep complaining about how many changes he's going to make. We know what he's going to do. He's going to rotate the players so we can keep them as fit.
Doesn't make it a right thing, though, does it?
I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just saying we're all moaning about it, and we all know it's not going to change. So surely, for our own sanity, we're probably better just accepting what is. If the sky's blue, I can't go out and complain that the sky's why is the sky not grey? Because I know it's blue. You know, reality is reality. You know, we can say we'd rather this and we'd rather that. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of players, even at QPR, saying the team's wrong. We need to change to this and we won 4-1. Now, if we'd have played the other team, we might not have won 4-1. It's really just hindsight, isn't it? You know, we don't. You know. Everyone was calling for Clark to play because he said Clark plays better away. I thought he was pants. I thought Philogene was excellent when he came on, but Clark was pants. I think it's on the day who's playing well, who can play well at that occasion, and I suppose the manager's just got to pick the players he thinks is the right ones. Maybe he started off with the wrong team. That's why he changed it. He brought Hurst off and put Akpom in the 10, and he got a goal. You know, I think it's all a matter of. He looked at the first half. He saw there were things wrong with the first half. He made changes at half time. You know, he brought Clark in and he played like effectively two up front, 2 10s. And it opened up the space a little bit. And then he changed the players and then we got the goals from it. So I think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows what he wants to do. Sometimes you step like any manager, you'll start off with a team and that because what the other team does, that doesn't work. You know,
so what do you put the first half down to then, Steve? Because obviously we'll come to the substitutions and McKenna working his magic from the bench again. What was not right? I mean, there was an awful lot not right about Town in the first half. But what particularly did you feel wasn't right about it?
All of them didn't seem on it. You know, there was a few players who were playing well, like Matasilu and Greaves and people like that. But Leif Davis wasn't on it. He seemed to be misplacing passes. Karius was misplacing passes. Clark was misplacing passes. There was a lot of misplaced passes which stopped the flow of the game. Yeah. And they didn't help. They were doing the same thing. And then there was a lot of grisly fouls which were breaking up play. And we couldn't get into a flow. And when things like that happens and it starts getting a bit of a bitty game, you know, it starts getting a bit turgid and you're going, how can this? And I honestly, to be honest, I'll stand here and say I didn't see a goal. So McKenna saw something that I didn't see because he said I'm going doing this, and this, and we scored 2 goals. So he saw something more than I did because I didn't see a goal. I was sat here going, Christ, am I going to come on to a 0-0 show? That's going to cheer everyone, isn't it? Miserable me on a 0-0 show.
Well, as I said, I thought I'd make another mistake today. After putting that in the wrong side of the room, I thought I made another one this evening. And Mike says, nicely, Akbar come on in the 9. We'll come to the substitutions you mentioned in just a second. Got lots of great comments coming in. Keep them coming in. Come on the show if you want to. Hit the link. Join us. It's the fan show. Try to have your say after what you've just seen. What do you put the first half down to? The changes. Is that the front four you want to see moving forward more often than not? And we are, of course, live again tomorrow night where we break it down in a lot more detail. This is just your match reactions where we let off a praise, let off our jubilation. Normally it's it's event. It's to vent. Nick Maynard, the rotation will benefit us over the course of the season. Daniel Barnard, said that was Nick Maynard. This is Daniel Barnard. Can I just say Town are currently 4th and not playing great football, but moving in the right direction. Trust the process. Don't forget we are partnered with Match Bingo. Remember the word Town all in caps. We've partnered with Match Bingo to give you a deposit bonus. You can get a 100% deposit bonus when you use the word Town all in caps. The deposit minimum is £10. And while the deposit is bonus cash and can't be withdrawn, the winnings absolutely can be. So use the word Town all in caps for your 100% deposit bonus when you deposit minimum of £10. Terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only. Please gamble responsibly. And whatever you do, visit beginnerway.org for more information. Hit the link in our description or scan the QR code on the screen next to their logo to play now. All right. So first half wasn't great. You thought we come on to a 0-0 show. I thought I made another mistake today. Both are incorrect because Town did go on to win the game, as we know. But to get there, the changes had to be made. And Kieran McKenna introduced Chuba Akpom up front. He introduced Sindra Vardiegli on the right and Jaden Philogene on the left. Let's start with... Where do you want to start? You start. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with Akpom because I think that was a bold call by McKenna. He could easily have pulled Akpom off for Nunes, which would have been the simple move. Everyone would have said, "Oh, right, it's just changing." But he didn't. He pulled him off and put him on and brought Hurst off.
Yeah, agreed.
And he went Akpom in the 9. And both goals came from the 10 and the 9. You know, it's like that was McKenna ball perfectly. He knows what he wants to do. He knows who wants to go where. He sees Hurst is struggling. Again, we'll go back to the issue. Yes, we probably look for a new striker in January, unless Akpom kicks on from here. But Hurst was struggling. Again, it wasn't hitting him. So you could probably say some of the first half was probably down to Hurst, because every time the ball was played to him, it just bounced off him. So that was changed. Akpom was brought a bit of physicality at the top of the pitch. Nunez was kept in. Nunez got a lovely header from a floated. Was it a header from a floated crop? Yeah.
Yes, it was a header from Jaden Villagine.
Yeah, and which I actually thought was so loopy. He was never getting that ball. It was
great ball in.
It was like 10 foot over his head, and then it just suddenly dropped onto the top of his head. I'm thinking, God, if I'm a defender, I'm gutted. But it was a lovely ball, and it was a nice little deft header. And that set the stall. I didn't see any way back for Hull after that, because they didn't really look threatening. And that's one thing we can put in our plus column is Hull score a lot of goals, and they really didn't look a threat at all. And when you consider you're playing a team who can score a lot, who have scored a lot of goals. Yes, they've conceded goals, but they conceded goals tonight. But when they've conceded goals, they've always scored a lot of goals. I think they're the second highest scorers in the Championship by Coventry. So, you can turn around and say, well, they didn't really have a sniff. A couple of long range sighters, which didn't really do a lot, and then a couple of times we cut them open. And I'm quite happy to sit down and say, well, if we do that every week, we'll win more than we lose. And the top and bottom is like the other commenter said, we're fourth. We're not playing very well. Yeah. I do think the players have got more to offer. I think they've got more to give. I still think some of them were playing in second, third gear. In time, when this, because a lot of them are still new players, and I'm not talking about bedding in or anything like that, but they've still got to get used to the way each other wants to play. And we all want to see situations where it's a settled 11 playing every week and this, that, and the other. But there's also that flip side of that is they're only playing like once a week. Each player's playing like once a week. Where everybody else, even some of these top sides, some of these are playing 3 games a week. Yeah. And all it takes is for 2 or 3 of these teams to get a couple of injuries. We saw that with Preston. I think they won tonight, but they've had a really bad run up until now. And that's just taking one player out, because one player got suspended for 9 games. Take that one player out, and all of a sudden they start losing near enough every game. So it can happen. And I can understand why he wants to try and keep a fresh rotated squad, because today proved it. He started off with one set of players he thought would do the business, didn't work, put some more on. They're fresh enough to come on and run them to death, and they were already knackered, And I thought it was a superb. In the end, it ended up being a superb performance despite a dire first half.
Yeah. All right, we've got ITFC Beard joining us. Beard, come on in. How are you, my man? We'll bring Stephen back. What's going on? What are your thoughts following that one?
It was a game of 2 halves, wasn't it? I think are we playing rope-a-dope, do you reckon, first half? We're letting them just attack, knacker themselves out, and then all of a sudden we attack second half. Because it seems to be a common occurrence in my eyes.
Hey, first half, there was a lot wrong about Town. And I saw a comment earlier in the chat that said we can't ignore the first 60 minutes. We can't, you're right, but the end result is Town sit 4th. Win on Friday, you could be second. You would be second, which is crazy to think about. And Nunez didn't have what I would say was a classic Nunez game. His first touch tonight wasn't great, but he got his goal with a header, and off we were running. And from there, never looked back, did we?
No, exactly. To quote another boxing, we don't have to be perfect the whole game. We only have to have that one opportunity, and boom, 1 second it changes. And that's exactly what we did, right? So, like the heavyweight boxers.
Isn't that the difference between quality and not quite quality? Like we were facing in the Premier League, you don't need a lot of chances to beat someone. You just need one,
Yes.
And we were facing that a hell of a lot last year. Now, other teams are facing that now, where they think they've kept us out for 60 minutes, then bang, it's an uphill battle for them. And that's
snatching them opportunities when they arise. We haven't always done that.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like today. As soon as we scored, they looked like they were like running uphill with a stone, and they looked buggered.
I've got 2 players I want to talk to you about. at different ends of the field, Beard. I'll start with the centre half because I'm a centre half by heart, and I love playing centre half all my life. So I'll start with him. Jacob Greaves returning back to his old club tonight. I thought it was sensational. He won everything, progressive with the ball. How did you see his performance?
Yeah, I think it was one of his better performances. I don't think we can take anything away from Hull. I mean, that's the second time they've lost this season at home. And for us to eat, all right, it wasn't a vintage display and it wasn't stuff like that, but we held, for a clean sheet for us. Our centre-backs even, Dara O'Shea put in a performance, taking a shot to the face. I think that's epitome to our team, willing to put our bodies on the line. Jacob Greaves not having the best of form, but coming in and stepping up when we needed him, in a really good display in my eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, I really enjoyed watching him play alongside, not alongside, but in addition to Matasiwa. I thought he was really good. I know that doesn't mean he'll play again on Friday. It generally doesn't with McKenna ball, but I thought in terms of taking an opportunity against an old club, full credit to Jacob Greaves. Colin says Greaves was excellent. Greaves was excellent, says Richard Chandler. That's your man of the match, though. Sega says Greaves was man of the match for Sega. Skyliner, Nunez is just a match winner when we don't look like scoring.
And the other Greaves,
go on.
I loved seeing him fly past Davis. Davis had the ball and Greaves was going past him. You don't get that from Kipri. I know it's a risk, but when there's plenty, it seems like there's plenty of bodies at the back. It's worth having that fullback who will go past his fullback to offer him an option to carry on going up the field. And I like that, mate.
Agreed. Another player I want to talk to you about, Bib, Chuba Akpom. Now, on the Monday show, the match preview show last night, there was talk about, is it time Chuba was played up front? Is he more of a striker than he is a player who plays behind the striker? And George Nunn was all for playing him up top. Well, Kieran McKenna clearly agreed with George Nunn because he played him up top when he came on, and it wasn't because he was up top he scored, but he got his goal. He's up and running. How did you see his cameo from the bench? Because I thought that goal really was about his movement. That ball comes in from the corner and he doesn't stop his feet. He keeps moving. It's great movement, and he gets lucky in the sense of it falls to him right place, right time, but he's made that luck through his movement and he's onside. What did you think of his performance? That's
a classic poacher's goal, right? He's got to be in the right place at the right time to be able to get that opportunity. And, credit to him, he's plugged at it. He's keep trying, he's not had the best of goals. He's been unfortunate a lot of times, hit the post and just, not been there, but he's kept trying, and obviously hopefully this is the confidence that he needs to kick on and really do a thing. And I think McKenna's secretly in the chat, because we've been talking about putting Akpom up front for so long, and, finally he listens.
Finally, he listens. And I'm trying to find my soundboard train whistle because basically I'm in blue with a great point. Taylor got the assist for that. All aboard the Jack Taylor bandwagon. We are leaving shortly, Stephen Parry. Jack Taylor changed that game. All right. He came on and someone in the Discord jokingly said Jack Taylor masterclass incoming. And I said, that's every week. And actually, jokes aside, I thought he played really well when he came on. Wouldn't say he changed the game, but I would say he really impacted it in a real positive way.
Yeah. It was a difficult one for Hughes because, for when he was on, nothing was sticking. Nothing was sticking to Hurst. Nothing was sticking to Clark. Everything seemed to be bouncing around. And when we did get a bit of flow, someone lost the ball. So when Taylor came on, we seemed to, it was in second half, we seemed to have got an idea of what we wanted to do. You know what I mean? The first goal came and it was quite a simple goal. You know what I mean? And then the second goal came and that was just Akpom knowing where his defender was. It was as simple as that. He knew there was a defender there. I suppose if the defender had moved, he'd have moved. It was one of those situations where the striker just stays one side of the defender and hopes the ball comes his way. And it did. Sometimes that's the look you've got to have as a striker. You just stand there making sure you're onside and hope the ball comes your way. Because there's no guarantee it would have done, but it did. And that's how you get your tap-ins.
Their protests make the goal even sweeter, though, doesn't it? Hearing them all cry and stuff like that, I was like, "Oh, I'm eating this up, nom 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 nom."
Particularly when you're going to watch it back and you're going to go, "Oh, yeah, okay, no, he is onside." Daniel Barnard, Jack Perlo, as he's being called on Monday's show, Jack Perlo, love it.
I like him. I like him, but I'm not going Jack Perlow. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll do it for you. Don't worry, I'll do it for you. So Chuba Akpom got his goal. He's up and running. Another player that we also desperately want to see get a goal just to get him up and running is Sindra Valiegli. He came on. How did he affect the game for you, Beep?
I still thought he was quite exciting on that. I was more interested when he moved into the centre, but he didn't get much opportunity to show anything in the centre. But I still think he was effective, keeping the right-hand side going and recycling the ball to opposition players. Something I think first half and beginning of the second half, McAteer struggled with that a little bit. But, it's difficult to tell whether it's because they were tiring or whether he's a class above. I know he is a class above, but whether he's, with them little touches, whether McAteer can do that, which I'm pretty sure he can, whether it's just they were tiring and they were stepping off Egley a little bit, where they were in the first half right on every single one of our players as soon as they got the ball. So it's difficult to tell, but I thought he was excellent when he came on, but I look forward to seeing more in the 10. I'd like to actually see when Nunes comes off, Egley goes in the 10, or if needs be, Nunes goes out to the right and Egley goes into the 10. Maybe prefacing for when Burns comes back and Burns can play the right with Egley and Nunes at the 10. I don't know. There's a lot of combinations that he can play, but I'd like to see. I'm quite content with him more at the number on the right wing until everything's sorted out. But I'm happy. I was happy what he did when he came on.
The good doctor said didn't think anyone had a bad game, even a bit off key in first half, but again showed the strength of the squad as the game goes on. Philogene on it straight away, great option, Tim and Clark. If Taylor is Perlow, says Mabby, then Chappers is Messi. Chappers is already Messi, although he's not tonight because he won a game, so he's back to being Connor Chaplin. We're saving that one for Oxford potentially, hopefully not, though it is away. So Town potentially could go there and become second by Saturday. We are turning the corner. And as we close, I've got 3 players. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you 3 players, Beard. You can choose the one you want to talk about. But before we do, we are partnered with Stowmarket Osteopaths, delivering quality osteopath and physiotherapy services in Suffolk since 1985. It's a long time. That's how good they are. If you want professional experience care, give them a call on 01449613633. I'll go there myself so I can speak highly about their service. 01449613633 and tell them Gov at Talking Town has sent you. Beard, here are your 3 players. You can choose one. It's a Town game. It's a Town performance. So Casey McAteer, feels like you can't talk about Town at the moment without talking about Casey McAteer. Or you've got Dara O'Shea channeling his John Terry towards the end there and throwing everything at the ball to stop it from going anywhere near the goal. Or you can talk about Jaden Philogene. There are your 3. Choose one, sir.
McAteer.
Go for it.
To me, I think he's so desperate to impress that he's trying so hard, and I think that might hinder him a little bit. I think he just needs to relax in the games. He's snatching at shots, he's shooting at, where he could pass and stuff like that. And you can see his eagerness and his willingness to play. And, he runs, and he doesn't stop, but the end product just isn't there. I don't know if we're expecting too much of him or he's expecting too much of himself, but I think he's a good player. I think as a backup to Egley, he's a great option.
So as a backup to Egley at the moment, okay, good option. Wes Burns is back on the grass. He's working his way back from that terrible injury. When Wes Burns is back, does that make, in your world, McAteer the backup to Egley, who's the backup to Burns, or is Burns the backup to Egley, and then where's McAteer feature in that trio? Is what I'm trying to ask.
It depends on the time span, right? Wes ain't going to just come straight into playing and be up to speed, right? You can't. That's unrealistic. So, do you then wait beyond January to bring him in? Do you put him in sporadically? I think the place is up to pick. I think Egley's nailed on for me personally, and the backup is between Wes and McAteer. And who's to say Wes don't pick up another injury? He's very unfortunate recently. So, God forbid, I don't want that to happen. But you got to take that into account. But yeah, I think the place is up to take, and I think Wes will challenge McAteer, and that might bring out the best in him. Who knows? All
right, Stephen, you've got Dara channeling his inner John Terry by throwing himself at the ball and refusing Hull any chance of a goal. or you've got Jayden Philogene to close the show. Which one are you taking?
I'm going to go with Dara. It's easy to go with Jayden. I just want to add something about thingy. I think we're looking at McAteer, and we're comparing. I don't know whether we're comparing him to the likes of Egley, Philogene, Clark. I don't think he's anything like that. I think he will end up being the backup right back, right midfield, who comes on if we're winning to defend the game. I think he's more comfortable defending than attacking. The others aren't as comfortable defending as attacking. So I think that's where he will end up playing his career. And there's players like that, like Johnson and things like that, who comes on to cover the defensive role. But regarding O'Shea, he's just solid. He's just a unit. At the end of the day, he's getting balls hit into his head. He's getting his own players kicking balls into his head, And even when he was going off, he was telling people at the free kick where he wanted them to be, going off the pitch. That's what you want to see. He's not just walking off, I've got a bump on my head. He's saying, you're there, and you're there. He weren't getting off until they were in right players. I'm thinking, that's what I want to see. I want to see someone on the field, even though they're going off, telling players where they've got to be. So then they're accountable for where they are. And if they're not there, then they can be held to account. And I like that. So he's growing in my estimations as captain because he's showing his leadership, even going off the field with a bang on the head. He's telling them where everyone needs to be. And I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We are live again tomorrow, 8 p.m. for a more in-depth look at today. I'll take Jayden Philogene. Just an exciting player when Jayden Philogene is on it, isn't he? And tonight when he came on, you could sense he was on it and he really was hungry for it. And why wouldn't he be? He's a player in great form against his old club. And alongside the substitutions, he really, for me, positively changed that game. And Town were the beneficiary of that tonight. He was exciting. He could beat the fullback one way, take him inside, hit the post where he's taken a touch, moved it past the defender and unleashed a hell of a shot. And it's hit the post and he's so unlucky. He's just an exciting player. And it's so different to the Jayden Philogene we were talking about 6 months ago. And that's how quickly the career of any football player, but particularly one, it feels like Ipswich Town can change. And, for all those doubting Casey McAteer, I'm not saying he's going to become the next Jayden Philogene. I'm not saying he isn't. But that's how quickly it can change. But Jayden has got there by his own credit, by his own merits, and by being just an exciting player.
He was unlucky on another one as well because he shot it. It went through everyone and just a keeper stuck a foot out and got to it. So there was a good chance he could have scored at least one or two. So he was unlucky.
Absolutely. But there we are. We're done. We're back tomorrow night live, 8 p.m. Beard, thanks for joining in and jumping in. We appreciate it. Beep, as always, appreciate you. Like and subscribe for all your Town news, views, fan opinion and more. But until tomorrow, Town have won 3 in a row, up to 4th. Could go second on Friday. I'm off to get a tissue because it's nosebleed territory. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.